Good Morning Source Gaming. I am your host, Shadowlink. It's been a while. This week we've got a few topics to talk about. The first of which is quite good news for some people, definitely for me. But before we get into everything, we've got to talk for an hour about the games that we've been playing. So I'm going to bring in Nantanjex, who has been sitting patiently. Hello.
Heyo.
Welcome.
I was about to post in the stream chat that the background music's just ever so slightly too loud.
Oh, is it too loud?
Yeah. It's either your fault or it's too loud.
I may be a bit quiet. I am too soft-spoken. Yeah, that's true.
Yes. As I was waiting for this stream to start, it looks like someone has somehow leaked the intro movie for Mario Strikers Battle League.
Oh, I see.
Like, just the raw, unedited, not from a trailer, just intro to the game. Like the CG intro, it's just been uploaded to like a random channel as well. It's got 109 subscribers.
I see.
Absolutely
I have a question
wild.
for you.
Go on.
Is Daisy there?
No.
We win! We win! We win!
Daisy will be added like eventually. Like it's so obvious to me that Nintendo, for 3 sports games in a row, have done the let's drip feed content out over a long period of time. Why would they not do it for the 4th sports game that they're pushing out? It's like, obviously, this is what's going to happen. I feel like people are just going to have to get used to that fact.
Yeah. It is funny that they're pushing Daisy to DLC.
Yeah, Waluigi got pushed out of Mario Kart 7. It's about time to sort things over. Although it is kind of funny because Daisy, I think, is like one of the big popular characters from the first Mario Strikers. But my only assumption is that they wanted to put Rosalina in there because realistically, if you look at the roster, Rosalina is like the only new character.
Mm-hmm.
Like Toad's been upgraded to a captain from his original position, but other than that, yeah, Rosalina's the only new character. So they probably were like, well, we've got 2 princesses already, so we don't need the 3rd one. And so she's been booted. But I have no doubt that she'll be added back in later on. It seems like it's such an obvious choice. But yeah, that's my introduction.
Okay, so as I was saying, I don't know if I was too quiet and the music was overpowering me too much, but it is not a good morning Source Gaming without talking for an hour about the games that we've been playing. So why don't you go first? What games have you been playing?
In all honesty, not a massive amount this week. I've got a lot of deadlines coming up, and I've been working on a video that I've been trying to get to render for the last 3.5 hours, Adobe.
Oh dear.
Fucking... Ugh. Like, it's actually sort of driving me up the wall. And the problem is I don't know what the problem is. Right? It constantly keeps getting to around having about 1 minute and 40 seconds left. And then I don't get like an error message, I don't get anything like that. The bar just stops going up. The time just stops elapsing. And I'm stuck at around either 1 minute and 50 seconds to 1 minute and 40 seconds. And I don't know what the cause is. There's nothing during that part that's not used in any other part of the video. And I'm sort of just now resorting on my 8th attempt to split the video into 2 parts and render both parts separately. And then stitch them together in post.
I do that
because
with really
it's
long
frustrating.
videos.
This video is not even that long. I rent it's about 35 minutes long, which is short by my standard.
Oh dear.
Yeah, it's just, and this is the thing, right? It was doing this while I was making the video as well. Like, whenever I previewed the video, if I previewed it for a long enough time, it would eventually hit a point where I'd stop getting sound, and Premiere wouldn't let me, like, pause the preview anymore. So the only way I could fix the problem and actually get back to editing is by closing the whole program down. But I have no idea what's causing that either. And it would change. It would always be roughly around the same part, which is towards the end of the video, but it was never the exact same moment. But if I started from that moment, sometimes it would work and sometimes it wouldn't work. And it's like, that's how I ended up managing to actually be able to edit that section. But so I'm assuming whatever was causing that problem is causing this problem, but I don't know what that problem is, and it's just, it's very annoying.
Yeah, Premiere was not a stable program when I used it, like, briefly, for editing the intro to the Zelda retrospective, and I have not gone back to it since.
Premiere just has, like, a lot of nice features in it that I like that Vegas Pro just doesn't have. And I know a lot more places use Premiere over Vegas, so I just want to get used to using it now.
Yeah.
But it's also like there are just parts of Vegas Pro that are better. Like, Vegas Pro is much better at putting masks over stuff, I find, whereas Premiere is a lot better with actually, because it's got Photoshop elements in it, is a lot better at actually sort of moving things around the screen and editing stuff like in the actual video engine itself.
Yeah.
And you can do proper, like, audio editing as well in the engine, which is nice for Premiere, which you can't do in Vegas. At least not that I ever found.
What do you mean audio editing?
Well, so, like, you can do all the stuff I would usually do in Audacity, I can do in Premiere Pro, in the audio section. You can do stuff like noise suppression, you can add filters and stuff, you can change the reverb, and it has some presets which were actually quite useful in this video, because I needed, like, a radio preset where it would sound like my voice was coming through a radio or music was coming through a radio. And it had a preset for it, so I was like, cool, that saves me the problem of fucking around with the audio myself.
There's plenty of that in Vegas.
Oh, is there? I just never used it then, I guess.
Vegas kind of started as an audio suite, so yeah. It'd be weird if the audio editing capabilities weren't good.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's enough of my video problems anyway. Ideally, I'm going to get this video rendered at some point today, and then it will be out some point late this week. I just need to have someone else check it, other than, so who knows what I've oversaw. That's not even a word, I don't think. But other than that, I mean, I guess I've technically played Switch Sports a bit this week, and that's fine. I played it a bit at the start of the week, and I played it a bit this morning, but that was about it. My main thing this week has really been playing a bit more Yu-Gi-Oh, watching stuff, and I went and saw Doctor Strange yesterday.
Based Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yes.
Hello?
Hello?
Colin.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Yes.
I hope I'm not late for my favorite segment, what we've been playing this week.
Nope.
No, it's just started.
Hell yeah.
And you can take over, because I haven't been playing anything this week. So.
Oh, well, as I said last episode, I got a Steam Deck, so I've been playing various games on the Steam Deck. But one game that I rebought just because I was like, I gotta see this thing run on it, was Resident Evil 8. And then, because I played a bit of that on Xbox, and then for whatever reason I never returned to it. And then I played, I got up to about the Dollhouse segment, and I beat that, and I said, that was so fucking good. I'm gonna go boot up my Xbox and play the segment again. Because I wanna go through it again. I wanna experience it in, like, true 4K HDR and all that shit. And then, I just blasted through the game from there. Holy shit, RE8 is just that good. Like, holy fuck, it's really good.
I've still not played it. I wanted to beat Resident Evil 7 before I got to Resident Evil 8, but I also wanted to play Resident Evil 7 through VR, which has just made my experience that much more slower than it wouldn't be normal.
Yeah, you don't need to do that. The VR mode for RE7 kind of sucks anyway.
I can confirm it does
Yeah.
suck.
Yeah.
This is the way the developers wanted me to play it.
No, it's not.
Definitely not.
It 100% is, because they told me in person when I was in Japan that this is the way that they wanted me to play it.
They clearly made it like last minute. Like they did not.
Maybe it's the way upper management wanted it to be played.
What's your favorite Amogus color? I'm gonna go with Smarch. That's my answer. But yeah, Resident Evil 8 is really fucking good. I like 7. 7's a good game, but like the back half of 7 is not a great game. The back half of 7 just kind of sucks, especially like that last third with the boat.
Yeah,
and
didn't get to that
well, it's not a boat. It's supposed to be like an oil tanker, but it looks like the fucking Revelations 1 map.
Yeah.
And then that final boss fight is whatever. But RE8 keeps its energy up like the whole experience. Like it never stops. And it's really, really, really fucking wacky and crazy and fun. Oh man, big. It's like $20 right now. Go get it. Go play it. It's like 9 hours long. It's like you'll beat it in a day, and you'll have a great time. It's so good.
I'm holding off on buying new games at the moment as I try and get through my backlog. Like, there's been a massive sale on the Switch at the moment. I've just been avoiding looking at it so that I'm not tempted to buy anything. So because I want to focus on actually clearing the games that I bought previously in sales on impulse.
April 30th.
What about April 30th? What?
You wouldn't know. If you know, you know.
I know. Okay. All right, then. Well, Matt, what have you been playing?
Oh boy.
People have. I like this comment in the chat. People have always told me RE7 has a boat. I assumed it meant you drive a boat. I realized that you're exploring a boat. No, there's like a whole flashback sequence, and it's basically an entire level out of like Resident Evil Revelations, but it's in RE7 combat, and it's really lame. It's really fucking lame. I don't understand what Capcom was doing. I assume it was just like, well, the back half of every RE game becomes a bit more action-packed. And it's like, yeah, but not like this. This is just running around with a really bad-feeling gun shooting these, like, incredibly tanky mold men.
The game's not made for combat.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't feel like a very combat-focused game when I played it.
No, RE8, on the other hand, though, I don't even, you know what's funny? It's been a year, and I feel like the grand majority of RE8 has not been spoiled. Because I didn't know a single thing about the back half of that game until I played it. Like, people have just not memed the shit out of the back half of that game, or like posted clips ad nauseum. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, oh, this is what happens. Like, holy crap! Like, what the fuck?
I don't know anything about the back half of that game either. Although I don't know a lot about the front half of that game, to be entirely honest.
I am aware of the ending and a boss that calls Chris Redfield a boulder punching asshole. So
yeah,
I'm not aware of that. I think I'm aware of a twist in the game.
There is a twist, and it's interesting. I don't like. I have some reservations about the ending of the game, but like, I don't. I liked it. I don't think it really means anything. I don't think it's enough to make me go like, fucking that ruined my experience. No.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. I think a lot of people who played it were like, "Oh, Lady D isn't the whole game." It's like no, it's the first 2 hours. There was like I remember during the Capcom leak, like both the real ending and like the ending for her boss fight leaked, but because the ending for her boss fight leaked, and because that's really all that Capcom was showing, people thought it was the ending of the game.
The actual ending of the game did leak, yeah.
It did. It was like a week later or something, because the Capcom leak was in waves.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I wasn't really following any of the Resident Evil stuff in it because I knew I wasn't going to be picking up Resident Evil 8, so...
I
Yeah, but you should.
The
one day.
The Lady D phenomenon is quite interesting to look at, because like
People like tall ladies.
They were winning so many awards for a part that is barely even like a fourth of the game.
Yeah.
Man, I actually didn't realize that she was only in it for that show. Like, I knew she wasn't the only like villain in it, and I knew that like there's like a group of villains, and she's just one part of it. But I assumed she was around for most of the game.
Nope.
A lot of people that I've talked to, who have actually finished the game, tell me that they much prefer a character named Heisenberg.
I've heard of him.
Yeah.
I think I've seen him in.
I think I like all the characters. I know I was talking to my good friend Bryhard Gaming, and his words, not mine. No, it's not that big of a deal. But he said he wasn't crazy about the middle bit, which I won't. I'm gonna keep up the not spoilering thing. But it's between the dollhouse and Heisenberg.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But no, that section's cool as shit. It's like a big Universal theme park ride. It's like you're on the Jaws ride. Like throughout. I feel like my biggest issue with RE7 when I was playing it, like I think the only real issue with that game is that the entire like first third of it is like sublime. It's like perfect. The intro is perfect. All the stuff with Jack, all those levels are great. And then you gotta go fight Mom, and it's like the same exact thing you just played, with like no difference except there's bees sometimes. And then the last third of the game happens, which starts with a complete fucking tease. And then the shitty action sequence, and it's like awful final boss. And you're like, what happened? What happened to the last third of this game? Launcher. Yeah, they don't. Meanwhile, this game gives you a grenade launcher like halfway through. It's like, nah, fuck it. We know you're gonna need this, and you're just like, holy shit.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, the guns in this game are like big and dumb, or at least you can upgrade them to be like big and dumb, which is insane for Resident Evil, but in like a good way.
Compared to the other Resident Evils, I know it's obviously very different from like 8 and 7 is very different from all the previous ones.
Yeah,
but like in sort of, would you still think the previous way of doing things in like Resi 4 or Revelations is better? Or...
I really like RE8. I mean, it's kind of weird because it is very different from everything else before it. I mean, it's more in line with 7, but it's a far superior 7, and I liked 7. But when my friends were like, "How does it stack up to RE4?" I'm like, man, I don't fucking know. Like it's they're so different. Like they're obviously like 8 takes inspiration from 4 in terms of like. Certain things, and there's big references, but yeah, I it's really fun. I don't know. I give it full marks unless Reverse comes out, and then I deduct a point.
Yeah, because
our Reverse looks like shit.
I mean, at this point, I feel like Reverse is just its own separate thing that's not actually
Dock
part
a point.
of Resi 8. It doesn't even play like Resi 8.
It's so weird. I really don't understand why every time they make like an RE multiplayer component, it's like not even remotely has anything to do with the game you're playing, and also is like nothing anyone wanted.
So the only time that they've done it well is
is raid
Resident Evil
mode.
6.
Nah, raid mode slaps.
Oh
Also,
yeah, well, raid mode's cool.
They could have made the Mercenaries 3D a real thing.
Yeah, Mercenaries mode was always pretty cool.
Yeah,
I
like. There's a Mercenaries mode in here, and it isn't good. It's really disappointing, actually.
I remember in RE6 there's a mode where you can drop into other players' campaigns as the monsters. That's fucking wild.
That's
pretty
cool. More games need that.
Yeah. Like Left 4 Dead did that, and that was so cool in Left 4 Dead.
Doom Eternal was supposed to have an invasion mode, and they said, fucking no. I was like, why? That's so much better than the fucking battle mode. Like, what the fuck?
I'm gonna say, does anyone even, like, play Doom multiplayer?
Nah, battle mode sucks. It's
Yeah.
not worth anyone's time.
Both of the modern Doom games, I don't know a single person who's played.
Nah, dude, Doom 2016's multiplayer pops off on the Switch because it's the closest thing to Halo on the Switch. Oh man. Video games.
Yeah. You love to hear about them.
Yeah.
Sometimes play
more or less.
So, update on my rendering. Rendering the first half, I think it might be done. It's hit 0, 0. Oh yeah, it's done. Finally. Okay. Part 1 is done. So now to render part 2 and pray for me that this works.
You just hear a loud screaming noise from Nintendo's mic.
Yeah. It'll be more like muffled swearing.
Okay.
Alright, let's do this. Yeah.
So,
Right.
I have been playing Fire Emblem Fates.
Oh, interesting.
A friend of mine was playing Fire Emblem Awakening in a Discord call, and he was like, wouldn't it be funny if I played Fire Emblem Fates? And I had the same idea. So I was like, yeah, I'm already booting it up.
Oh no, why would you do this to yourself?
So we somehow roped a third person into Fire Emblem Fates. So we're all doing one version. We spun a wheel, and I won the worst version of Fire Emblem Fates.
Is that Revelations?
So I'm playing Revelation. It is a baffling game.
It's the only Fire Emblem game I have never played is Revelations. I own it because I got the limited edition for it, and I never got to that point. I never finished the Conquest campaign, and I wanted to finish both Birthright and Conquest before I got to Revelation. So all I know about it is what offhand I've been heard from people, which is that it's not good.
I'm going to talk about it. So
go on.
Every map that is not just a map reused from another campaign is a gimmick map. There are the first real level you do in Revelation is a map where you cannot see the map, and you have to enter a dark space, and then the map will be illuminated to you, and then you'll see the enemies in front of you, which you cannot interact with or strategize against because you don't know that they're there until you see them. And then there's another map later where you have to break a snow wall, and you cannot see the map or the enemies. And when you break the snow wall, the enemies in the map are revealed to you, so you cannot strategize because you get it. So unlike Birthright and Conquest, which Birthright has decent maps. Most of the levels are route the enemy, but Awakening is mostly route the enemy, so that's fine. And Conquest has legitimately challenging maps that you have to strategize and really work your brain to figure out. Revelation.
I don't like it. That's not why. I don't like that. That's the reason I couldn't beat it.
Revelation is beat the enemy up simulator. You are given access to all of the royal characters who are broken. They're like your anchors in the other version. But because you have 10 of them, you are basically a walking, like, armada. You are invincible. So it's like it's been very interesting for me playing Revelation, because I recently played Fire Emblem Three Houses again. I didn't like Three Houses the first time I played it, but then I replayed it on hard. I basically played it on classic, even though I did casual, because I basically never let a unit die ever.
Yeah, same.
So I was really working, like, through every possibility, every strategy I could in that game, and now I'm playing the the most brain dead Fire Emblem game. Oh my god.
Fates is it's an upsetting game. It's just like Birthright is too easy to be enjoyable, like really enjoyable. Like if it's your first Fire Emblem game, fine. But like as someone who's played every other game in the series, it's just way too simple and straightforward. And Conquest is like the complete opposite end of the spectrum. Like there's some absolute bullshit that happens in Conquest. For someone who wants to keep all units alive, it's an absolute nightmare to play.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Revelation does just sound like the worst elements of both sides of the game.
I haven't even talked about the story yet.
Oh yeah, no, the story is bad in all forms, every section.
It's a special kind of bad in Revelation.
Like I don't know how it can be worse in Revelation. Like I feel like a lot of the big problems from Birthright and Conquest come from characters acting like complete and utter idiots.
So that's
like Xander in Birthright and Corrin in Conquest are both complete morons because of the sides that they choose to the hills they choose to die on. Revelations going in the middle, I would have hoped would have resolved both of them plots.
So Revelation, the moment it starts, you receive the revelation that Nor is being controlled by a third nation that you find when you jump off a cliff. You cannot talk about this nation outside of it, or else you'll be cursed, which is why Azura has never told Corrin about it, even though in Conquest you go to it for one chapter.
Is Azura with you when you do that in Conquest? I'm trying to... Yeah. Oh yeah, because it's when you get Gunter back, isn't it? 'Cause he fell into it.
Yes. So... Oh my god. So
I swear she tells you about it in Conquest.
No, she doesn't tell you the full extent of it.
Because it's where she's from, I think, right? Or where her mum's from or something.
Where her mom's from.
Yeah.
So, the entire, like, first half of the game is Corrin running around telling people, believe me, trust me, there is an invisible enemy that I cannot talk about that is behind everything. And then everyone reasonably just goes, what the fuck are you talking about, Corrin? They're just like, no, believe me, please. And then, like, the only reason that he manages to get the Nor siblings on his side is he beats Camilla, so Camilla just joins. Elise, like, shows up because she's a child. Leo and Xander witness King Garen going insane, laughing maniacally, saying death to Hoshido, death to Nor. And then they go, oh wait, Maybe this is actually true.
That looked bad.
It is fucking contrived. I was laughing so hard when that scene was playing. Oh my god. So like Fire Emblem Fates Conquest, I will genuinely recommend as a good game if you press the start button a lot whenever a story sequence happens. Birthright is also fine. Again, if you skip the story. Revelation, no redeeming qualities. Fuck that game. Fuck it.
Like, my problem with the story in this game is, like, Birthright's story makes the most sense, but, like, in order to have the siblings fight each other, all of the North side of the family... Or actually, no, I take that back. Xander is essentially the only one from the North side of the family who acts like an absolute buffoon.
Yeah.
For literally no reason, in a way that actively contradicts his own characterization in his support conversations, and it's bafflingly bad. And then but otherwise, the Hoshido side of thing makes sense, because while this game wants you to pick a side, this isn't a grey game. This is very much black and white.
Yeah,
Nor is bad.
Nor is fucking evil. The only people who are not evil act like complete idiots in Birthright.
Yeah. It's like, I understand wanting to side with your country, but when every single member of your family has joined the enemy side because they all see how bad like how fucking evil your country is, and your dying sister is telling you, please don't fight, and you're like, well, there's only one thing I can do here. And then fight.
Yeah.
It's like the most baffling turn of events. Like, at least in Conquest, Ryoma goes out like a Chad.
Ryoma says, no more games, you die, and then waits 25 turns for
he's his family, you know? He doesn't want to hurt.
Haitani, Fire Emblem Fates was released as 3 different games everywhere. There is a special edition that is all 3 games in one. I believe that is the one you were thinking of.
Yeah, that's the case. It was quite readily available over here, to be fair, so I think a lot of people who were interested in Fire Emblem just picked up that copy of it. And just got all 3 games in one. But,
okay.
Yeah, it sucks.
Doodle, I am going to get into it. Oh my god, what is the name of the fucking song?
What? The one Azura sings?
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't it not just called that, is it?
No, it's not.
We'll just call it Fates song.
That
Lost
song,
in Thoughts All Alone.
Lost in Thoughts All Alone is a really good song in Japanese. I feel this way about both Lost in Thoughts All Alone and The Edge of Dawn. Treehouse really messed up the localization of the lyrics on both songs. I do not think they flow well at all.
I'm not a music person, so I can't really comment on this. I had no issues with either of the songs, to be honest.
Now, the real shit, The Heritors of Arcadia, that song is gorgeous in both languages, so we're good there.
That song is better. Echoes just has a really good soundtrack in general.
Echo's soundtrack is immaculate. It is perfect. I have no qualms with it.
But yeah, Fates is bad, and doesn't help that Three Houses kind of did what it wanted to do, but better and cheaper.
Yeah, it helps that it's everything's in one game.
Yeah. Yeah, and it kind of sucks because there's a lot of characters in Fates that I really like. Like, some of its characters are very questionable, but there's I feel like they try to with its larger cast, tried to make them feel a bit more characterized than they did in Awakening. Because Awakening's like kind of one big issue is that a lot of its characters feel very like archetypes. And Fates at least try to avoid doing that, but they're all like even the best of characters is still trapped in Fates, so
yeah,
kind of brings them down. Like Xander is a good character if you ignore everything he does in the story and just focus on the way he's characterized in the sports and stuff.
I'm sorry. Fucking, this character is good if you ignore everything they do is a fucking sentence.
Yeah, I know. It's a mood, all right. I keep wanting to go and play Three Houses again because I've only actually done the Edelgard route. I got about halfway through the church route and then I just stopped to do other things. But with Three Hopes coming out, I kind of want to at least finish that and maybe Blue Lions as well.
Blue Lions is fantastic. I think that is genuinely the best that Three Houses can be because it really feels like the prologue for Three Houses was written for the characters in Blue Lions. Like, they actually have personal stakes in every mission that you do, unlike the other, like, houses that just go,
yeah,
oh, this thing happened, this is bad.
Yeah, that's the thing, but I don't want to start Blue Lions from a new game, I want to do it via New Game Plus.
Yeah, that's fine.
In order to do that, I need to beat the church route, because even though I beat Edelgard's route, I didn't want to do the prologue again, so I just went back to an earlier save to do the church route.
I absolutely recommend Fire Emblem Echoes. I think that game is fantastic.
Yeah, I personally prefer Awakening as a game, but Echoes is very, very good. It's definitely a lot better than Fates, that's for sure. One day we'll get another Fire Emblem. Or a remake. A Fire Emblem from actual Intelligent Systems.
What was I going to say? I'm hoping that they add the season pass for Fire Emblem Three Houses to the NSO.
Same. I never bought it.
Because I would like to experience that content, but I don't have enough drive to buy it. And I still haven't played Golden Deer yet, so that would be an excuse to do that.
Kind of really annoyed that they added Juritza as a playable character, but only in the Edelgard route, which is the only route I've done. So I've got a new Similar, so I want to replay that route again.
They added Juritza after I finished that route too, and I'm like, yeah, but he's funny. He partakes in the sweet delights.
He should have been playable from the start. There's quite literally no reason why he shouldn't have been.
I think it's because the route wasn't finished.
Yeah, probably. Oh well. Also, update on my video, part 2 also stopped about halfway through, so I need to do this in 3 parts, hopefully, because I still don't know what the issue is. Frustrating, but time to go to Task Manager and have it close everything. Hooray. Anyway, we've been talking about Fire Emblem for a while, while Colin's been patiently sitting there.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I don't know what a Fire Emblem is.
So maybe we should move on to the news of the week.
That's that Warriors game, right?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, they're making a second one.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Something like that. There's
something like that.
Yeah. Anyway, what's on the news agenda?
I don't know what the
Embracer
fuck
Group acquisition.
Oh boy.
So
that was kind of out of nowhere, huh?
Oh yeah, Square just selling off basically their entire Western division,
except for Don't Nod.
Yeah, but I don't. They didn't own Don't Nod. They're a free agent, aren't they?
Maybe they do own Life is Strange, and that's what I was basically trying to say. They didn't sell Life is Strange. That's the only one.
Yeah, because isn't that one of their 3 Twin Peaks ripoffs was published by Bandai Namco? Yeah, Twin Mirror.
Okay.
Yeah, Twin Mirror.
And then their other Twin Peaks ripoff, Tell Me Why, was published by Xbox.
Okay.
And then their Vampire the Masquerade ripoff, Vampire, was Focus. So
Twin Mirror is such a weird game. It just kind of like I played it when it was like in development at Gamescom, I think, and I have like a poster for it and a bunch of random tat. and then it just sort of disappeared off the face of the earth for ages, and then randomly came out. And I was like, what?
It's so fucking weird that, like, within a span of a decade, because Square buying IDOS was not that long ago. It happened in the 2010s. This is like about a decade ago. Like, within the span of a decade, they both bought IDOS and then just fucking got rid of it.
Yeah, this didn't pan out. I mean, IDOS is a pretty good buy. I can see why they wanted them.
Yeah, they were going under. There was like no chance of survival with IDOS.
Yeah.
But yeah, good lord.
I feel like Square are like very much to blame for for everything that sort of went wrong with them games.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
The Western division of Square is horribly bad at budgeting.
Mm-hmm.
So every single game that wasn't Life is Strange was a failure. And Human Revolution. Deus Ex Human Revolution was not considered a failure.
Well, like, I don't even know. I mean, budgeting is also an issue, but I feel like Square Enix Japan also has a budgeting issue a lot of the time.
They do, but it's far less severe.
I feel like the biggest issue is they really just completely botched their Marvel stuff. Like, Marvel Avengers is obviously the game everyone points to because it did really badly for a game that should have been a guaranteed hit. But, like, a big part, from what I understand, all the single-player stuff and the story stuff is actually really good. And then it's just bogged down by all of the unnecessary live service bullshit that Square forced into the game. Like, if they hadn't have done that, I think it would have scored a lot higher and done a lot better.
I personally think it was, like, dead in the water the moment they couldn't get the MCU likenesses.
I still don't think it's the MCU likenesses. I think there's an issue with them not getting it out in time to coincide with any actual movie that was coming out. That's certainly an issue. But I don't necessarily feel like not having the MCU licenses was a major issue.
I think also...
Because, like, there's plenty of Marvel games out there. Like, I mean, the one that Nintendo released, it didn't do nearly as poorly as Avengers did. I think it was a moderate success. And
I think it sold 1 million copies. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So, I think this is a big one. The PS4 being the biggest platform for the Avengers game is no coincidence. No Spider-Man. Pretty bad.
Well, they added Spider-Man eventually, didn't they? Although it was like
PS4
worse.
only. PS4 only is the problem too.
Right, yeah,
and it's not even like the PS4 Spider-Man. It's a completely different Spider-Man.
Yeah, and apparently it's like it plays worse. Like, Spider-Man's not as fun in the Avengers as he is in his own game.
Well, yeah, because that Avengers game is just like a games as a service, like looter brawler, I guess is the way to put it.
Yeah, but it's like a shame because, like, what do you call it? Guardians, which came out, which didn't have the live service stuff and was basically just the props from the story mode, is apparently good, but no one was willing to even attempt to get it because they were already burnt out from what Square had just done with Avengers.
Square took they took too long to, like, hop on the MCU stuff, and when they finally did, they took way too long advertising some of these games that ended up not really being worth anyone's time. Guardians is good, but by the time we got to Guardians, everyone was like, I'm fucking sick of this.
Yeah. I don't think Guardians, like, E3 helped it at all, because it just became,
it didn't.
Massively memed by how long it was on for, how many times they like mentioned the same shit over and over again.
Yeah, I think the Avengers game had a really, I think, strong first showcase.
They didn't show any gameplay, they just showed cutscenes. They were very particular about not showing gameplay.
They did show gameplay of Wait, are we talking about Avengers or Guardians? Sorry.
Avengers.
Okay, yeah, no, oh, never mind.
Because Avengers, they were like, check out all these cutscenes, but we will have gameplay on the show floor, but do not record it, do not upload it, do not look at it.
Oh, they didn't show any gameplay?
No.
Oh god, I don't remember that.
The closest they did was, I think they showed like a CG video that was like meant to look like, this is what the Avengers will look like fighting on a bridge. And then the second one, they were like, coming up next, they're gonna meet Ant-Man, but we'll save that for later. And you're like, okay. What the fuck?
Yeah, the Guardians game not releasing near a Guardians movie definitely didn't do it any favors.
No, that one I get, because the Guardians was meant to have a movie much more recently, and then all the James Gunn nonsense caused it to, like, you know, be pushed. The Guardians 3 should have been out by now, I'm pretty sure, but it got delayed significantly.
Yeah, because he had to make the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, so, like, that one I don't necessarily blame Square for, because I imagine them not wanting to sit on this, especially if they were already thinking of selling anyway. But, like, Avengers absolutely should have been tied in with Avengers Endgame or Infinity War to really, like, capitalize on it, and they just didn't do that somehow. It's like how Pokemon Company didn't release anything to tie in with actual Detective Pikachu when it came out. They didn't release Detective Pikachu to tie in with Detective Pikachu. It was bizarre. They still haven't released Detective Pikachu on Switch anyway.
Yeah, where the hell is that?
Who knows? He's sleeping with Pokemon Sleep.
Oh god, was the Avengers game really 1 year late?
Yeah. It came out way too late.
Yeah, it came out like 2020.
Like, they announced it during sort of the big MCU hype, and then didn't show anything off of it for like 2 years.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, it's going to come out with Avengers Infinity War, right? And then it just didn't. And then it just didn't come out for ages. And when it finally dropped, it had all the same criticisms that stuff like Babylon's Fall has been getting. Where it's just so much live service stuff bogs everything down.
Did you guys see that Babylon's Fall hit 1 concurrent player?
Hell
yeah.
I
know.
That's so fucking
I forgot that game released.
Yeah. Again, Square Enix just kind of dropped it out and was like, forget
iGolf in chat says Sega didn't release anything with either Sonic movie, but they Sonic Origins was supposed to be done last year.
They
yeah, and with the Sonic movie,
they did. There was the mobile game.
Oh yeah, there's the mobile game. But with the thing about the Sonic the Hedgehog movie is that initially Sega just gave them the Sonic license and weren't going to get involved with the movie. So it was really just a side thing.
Yeah.
That they only stepped in and got involved in when that first model got released and everyone shat all over it, and they're like, oh, maybe we should do some, like, brand protection.
And
then
they
stepped in and got involved.
It ended up basically revitalizing the entire brand.
Yeah. So, but like, and originally Sega weren't too bothered about it, so they didn't really plan anything around it, which is why it didn't have a film. Now, Sonic Origins probably should have come out in time for Sonic the Hedgehog 2, but it's only like a couple of months late. Like, it's not like a year. It's not like Sonic Origins is next year, or Sonic Frontiers is next year, and that's also meant to be out at the end of this year. So they've at least better than the other video game movie ties. We'll see if Nintendo ties anything in with the Mario movie next year or not. Like, because they're heavily involved in that one, so they might do.
But yeah, Embracer Group, they got Eidos Montreal, Crystal Dynamics, and Square Enix Montreal.
Yep.
Which that one's getting renamed, of course, but
Embracer Montreal, or THQ Montreal, or whatever, or just something completely new.
I do like that they have acknowledged Deus Ex. Because obviously there's already a new Tomb Raider game being developed, so Tomb Raider's like safe. But Deus Ex got royally screwed by Square Enix's upper management.
Mm-hmm.
So
It was the first bad sign.
There was a planned third game that was the result of Square Enix splitting the second game in half, which led to lukewarm reception because the game was clearly unfinished. Like, it doesn't wrap up all of its plot threads. Like, not a single one of them. So, like,
I haven't played any of the Deus Ex games, just FYI.
Basically,
I got a friend who's a big fan, and I've watched the H-Bomber Guy video on the first one, and that's really my my experience of
I don't want to talk
of
about
the series.
That video.
It's really all I
it.
know.
I love it when game developers are obtuse. I prefer it when they don't help the player. So, all you need to know about Deus Ex 4 is that they split it in half so that they could have another Deus Ex game. And then Deus Ex 4 bombed, so they didn't make Deus Ex 5.
Giving me Golden Sun 4 vibes. But Golden Sun 3 also ends on a cliffhanger, doing the exact same thing, and then that game didn't sell well enough for them to justify making a fourth game. So you just assume that the world ends, and there you go.
The most bizarre thing about Deus Ex 4 is it ends with a reel of news presentations about, like, the side quest that you completed. And that is, like, such a low-key ending. It is completely unsatisfying, and I think that's a big part of the reason why people were lukewarm on it originally. I think it's gotten a lot more appreciation over the years, but it definitely did not have a good like, first impressions.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like generally Embracer wants to kind of get the 90s kids back together, because they have Saber, they have 3D Realms, they have Apogee, they have Gearbox. Mm-hmm. They're trying to get all the late 90s the boomer shooter people under their wing. And it makes sense. I mean, now we, like, the studio that makes Deus Ex is now under the same company that makes, like, fucking System Shock. So
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, it does kind of make sense. I feel like Embracer's just trying to go for they're basically doing what Bethesda did for a while, where they're focusing on making, like, sleeper hits, games that maybe don't initially sell super well, but once they're on sale, they'll fucking fly off of like PC marketplaces and stuff.
Yeah, it's fine. We need someone who makes them sort of games like that. Not everything needs to be a massive seller. And I don't know, I just hope that they'll, like, utilize their IP more, because, I mean, I've seen people say that, like, I mean, it was said right at the start in the chat that there's only, like, they've only said 7 IP that they've bought, because they're not allowed to mention the others, because it's still, negotiations are still ongoing with what IP they pick up and which ones they don't.
It's so fucking funny if Square Enix held on to Gex and only Gex.
They know the value of the IP, obviously. Honestly, I'm actually unsure about Gex. Not that I mean, I'm pretty confident that Embracer Group are going to get Gex. I don't think it's something that Square would actually hold on to. But more so about whether or not we'd be more likely to get a new Gex game under Square or under Embracer Group.
Yeah, that's more of a wait-and-see kind of thing.
Yeah, because the thing about the one benefit that Square had is that they had the Square Enix Collective, which is where, like, studios can go and pitch, like, indie studios can pitch games to Square. and then like Square will publish them and do all of that stuff. Like it's an easy way for small independent developers to get a big name publisher, and they allowed them to use their own IPs. And Gex was confirmed to be one of those IPs.
I can only remember one game that came from that.
There's loads of games that came from the Square Enix collective. We've reviewed like at least 2 for Source Gaming.
My memory isn't good, so
yeah. There's one on the Switch that I reviewed called Turing Point. And then the Turing Test even, and then Wikipedia doesn't have it, but I thought there it is. The Forgotten Anne, that was the other one we reviewed. The Forgotten Anne was reviewed by Spazzy. It's like a platforming Metroidvania game with like hand-drawn art style.
Okay.
They released Circuit Superstars last year. That was the latest Square Enix collective game. And apparently that Power Wash simulator, if you've seen the videos, you know, where the super satisfying video of just cleaning shit with a power wash.
Yeah.
That's apparently being published by the Square Enix collective as well.
I see.
Sick.
Yeah. Battalion 1944 was a game that they released. I remember that. I
backed that on Kickstarter.
Yeah, that's a Square Enix collective game as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, like they've done quite a few things. It's just that most people obviously prefer to go there and then make their own IP.
Yeah.
As opposed to using one of Square's. I would have totally gone there and made a Gex game with them, though.
What I was talking about is I only remember one game using one of those legacy IPs.
Oh, right, okay.
Which is the Fear Effect game.
Oh yeah, Fear Effect Sedna. Was that? Oh, I didn't realize Fear Effect was a game that existed.
Yeah.
Oh yes, it was. Yeah, well, someone could have done the same thing for Gex.
Yeah, someone could have done it for Gex,
has.
But nobody has had the galls.
Yep. No one feels confident enough in it to make Gex for. Confident enough in their own skills, I mean. Yeah, Power Wash Sim, it's going to be a collective, because it's not out yet officially.
I still love that there is a long-standing claim about Gex that it has sold 15 million units total, and we have no idea where that comes from.
Source, trust me, bro.
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
I mean, I'm assuming it came from something like VG charts, because everyone gets it off of Wikipedia, obviously. Yeah. And, I mean, honestly, I believe it. But the problem with that Wikipedia list of best-selling games is it's, horribly out of date.
Yeah.
Everyone always points to Gex sold more than Persona, but, that is definitely not true anymore.
It is not true.
I'm pretty confident that is not true anymore.
No, I believe Persona updated to 15 million sometime last year.
Yeah.
I started this rumor. I'm sorry, I didn't think you would get this far.
Update on my video rendering. I've now narrowed it down to the exact section that this keeps breaking, and I don't know why it's breaking. I don't know what is happening in this section to cause everything to break down.
If I remember...
Time to find out.
Is there text on the screen?
No.
Okay. I have no fucking clue.
It's got less stuff on the screen than most other sections.
Huh.
Which is why it's super confusing for me. I'm almost tempted to cut this whole section out and then put it into a separate file and then render it that way and see if it will work.
I guess it's worth a shot.
Yeah, I might do just that. Anyway, the Embracer Group stuff. Obviously, like with all of these acquisition deals, it's still in the talks, so I don't know when the IPs fully go over to Embracer Group. But
this is maybe the only acquisition in the last year that hasn't filled me with dread in every way, shape, and form, because Square Enix does just suck.
Yeah,
this is legitimately a better outcome. People will always be like, "Oh, fucking no!" Microsoft's gonna fix Activision, which they won't. they're just throwing dirt on the issue and getting Call of Duty for a deal, but fuck Square Enix. This is potentially a better home.
Mm-hmm. We've got a $5 donation from Lisbon Mapping. I pitched a Space Invaders dating sim to the Square Enix collective, but they rejected it and sent a consolation pipe bomb to my mailbox. Thank you.
Oh. Well, at least you got a consolation pipe bomb. I mean, do you still have the pipe bomb?
Whoa.
That's the thing, like,
There's a
is it
return
a trophy
address.
pipe bomb? Yeah. Yeah, can you send it back? Can you trade it in for a bigger one?
I think the thing with Embracer Group though is that they're buying a lot of they're buying a lot of smaller developers. They're buying a lot of developers that are in sort of like Bethesda situations where they're not really making huge money makers. They're just making because buying stuff like 3D Realms, you're basically only appealing to people who play games on PC. Same thing with stuff like Saber. You're basically buying a porting studio at that point. So I think what they're just trying to do is just get a bunch of studios that they can I don't know, throw some funding through.
Yeah,
yeah, it seems like they're trying to be it seems like they're trying to bring back the double A space,
yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
This is like the Atlas acquisition to me, with where Sega acquired Atlas. Because I am totally okay with this because they're staying independent. It's not being swallowed by fucking Microsoft.
Yeah.
And on that note, apparently, this acquisition may have been done because Square Enix wanted to downsize so they could be bought by Sony.
Oh god.
Is this true? I've heard this rumor go about.
I've heard it from two credible sources.
Apparently, Jeff Grubb and Greg Miller both heard that from different sources. But it's very weird because, as many people have said, most acquisition buyout they don't have rumor mills behind them. They just happen.
Yeah.
No one saw the Activision thing happen. No one saw the Embracer Group thing happening.
Yeah, they just happen.
Yeah. Also, yeah, Sony getting Square would be fucking awful.
Yeah, it's there's just Sony only cares about big AAA games. They've said this over and over again.
Yeah, so Square and Sony are both really shit about their back catalogs. It's fucking awful combination of two companies.
I don't even care if it's Square Enix games exclusively come out on PlayStation, because it's basically been that since the fucking PS1, let's be real.
Yeah.
But smaller titles like The World Ends With You, or these remake titles that they've been doing, like the HD 2D stuff, probably won't happen, or at least not happen nearly as frequently. And everything will be pushed onto Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest, and that'll be it. And then Life is Strange, I guess.
On that note, Square Enix doesn't own Dragon Quest.
Do they not own Dragon
the games,
Quest?
But they do not own the IP. That is owned by Armor Project, which is a company founded by Yuji Horii, the creator of Dragon Quest. If that merger goes through, there is no fucking way Dragon Quest stays with Square Enix.
Is that really true? I didn't know that. What are they called? Armor Company?
Armor Project.
Armor Project. I'm gonna look this up. Not that I don't believe you, but I've never heard this before in my life. So
you'll learn something new every day.
Check it, yeah. Armor Project, Dragon Quest. Okay, moving whatever the problem was onto a new sequence and then rendering it seems to have worked. I don't.
Good.
Fuck, I know why.
Project may have just reached your memory load or something.
Maybe. I'm now debating whether or not I want to try and render it all together as one, but in the new sequence. test it, so I don't have to worry about doing it. I might try that because that worked. But yeah, Armor Project. Oh, yep, yeah. Huh. That's really cool, actually.
Armor Project is in a Smash copyright. It's just not in the one in the game for some reason. I'm not sure why.
That's weird.
It's on the website for I think the Terry listing. We found it on the website for the Terry listing. It's fucking weird.
I think it's physical media. So
it's listed in
Square
Heroes
Enix
DLC
handles
copyright on the website. Okay.
Yeah, so Square Enix handles the publishing rights of the Dragon Quest series, but Armor Project owns the intellectual property rights.
Yeah. Okay.
Square Enix didn't have any involvement on which developers made Dragon Quest games until Dragon Quest IX, apparently. And then from that point onwards, they've been made entirely within Square Enix itself.
Yeah, and the other thing about Square Enix is that all of the Dragon Quest games are made by a studio within Square Enix.
Yeah.
That
as of 9 onwards.
Enix. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they could break that up.
Yeah, because that's what I was. That was my always assumption that Enix owned Dragon Quest, and then when they became Square Enix, that was their big IP. That was the one that they got.
It'd be fucking wild if this led to Square Enix breaking up and Sony only getting Square.
Yeah, that would be fucking weird. who would make and publish the Dragon Quest games at that point? I can only assume there's a potential possibility that Nintendo would step up for that because they've been the ones publishing Dragon Quest outside of Japan whenever it's on Nintendo platforms.
Nintendo would not care about Square too much. But they would absolutely step in for a Dragon Quest.
Yeah, like Square fucked off back in the 64 era, and Nintendo does publish some of their games if they're exclusives. Like Nintendo published Chocobo Racing GP and published, the Bravely series and everything that's related to that. But they haven't. But that's it. If a game is multi-plat like The World Ends With You was, then they don't publish it. Which is probably why that game got no fucking marketing.
Yeah. It sure got an Epic Game Store deal, though.
Oh my god, you just reminded me that Epic Games bought Bandcamp. Fuck me.
Yeah.
I
was about...
And they bought Harmonix too.
I'm a couple of months from publishing something on Bandcamp, and that news hit my inbox, and I'm like, oh no.
Oh no. At least it's not Pico Interactive. I've been doing a lot of research into them because they're actually playing a big part in as a big source in a paper I'm currently writing about games preservation, because they have the whole commercial preservation quote unquote mentality. And man, is that company not a good company.
Did you see that limited run is there's been an issue with the Doom collection cartridges. If you guys could just fucking destroy them and then mail them back to us, we'll send you a replacement right away. Which is funny for a couple of reasons. One, it's super wasteful.
Yeah.
And two, that means if you have if you're one of those people who buys limited run shit and then keeps it sealed, you have to open it.
That is baffling. I mean, that might make that version of the Doom limited run even more valuable than.
There's no reason to buy that physical anyway, because all those games are $2 on the eShop. B, it's fucking Doom. And C, you can buy the Slayers collection for Switch for significantly cheaper, and you get Doom 2016 included. It's a much better deal.
Do you need to send that thing back? I thought from what I read that you just had to take a picture proving you destroyed it.
Oh, I think the initial one is they wanted to they wanted people to send back the cartridge so they could destroy it themselves, or if they're doing the Criterion thing where they're like, oh, just fucking break it or send it back.
Yeah. Right.
But still, it's super.
It costs money to send it back.
With a disc, it makes sense because it has to be pressed. With a cartridge, it makes no fucking sense because it can be reprinted. Like you can just. They have the machines to just like put the cartridge in and rewrite it.
Oh.
So
Awdoodle, don't worry about Bandcamp Fridays. They actually do just legitimately waive all fees. You're not supporting
yeah, they do.
games.
Buy a cheap game and destroy it. That's basically how everyone has played Mr. Gimmick for the last like 30 years. By destroying Return of the Joker carts. I think there's people who make like homebrew Doom carts out of like a Yoshi's Island. No, it's Star Fox. People use what fucking game is it? I don't think it's Yoshi's Island.
Didn't you just say Star Fox?
No, Star Fox 2 because it needs the Super Effects 2 chip.
Oh right, okay.
There's some game on the Super Nintendo. I think it's like one of the later Kirby games because that uses like the
Kirby Superstar uses the
yeah. They use that one to make Star Fox 2 repro cards.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. Fun fact: did you know you could overclock the Super Effects 2, like the Super Effects chips?
I think I've heard this before.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can make all of your Super Effects games run better by like soldering an oscillator onto the fucking cartridge board.
Oh.
I have 2 Doom Super Nintendo carts. One's the original, the other runs at like 25 FPS. Oh yeah, it is Yoshi's Island. I was right the first time. It's been a while. It's been a hot minute since I've opened up my Star Fox 2 cartridge.
So, what do we think? I mean, obviously, Sony are talking about potentially buy. I mean, rumors are that they're potentially trying to buy Square Enix, but Square Enix's own official one is that they're trying to get into the blockchain,
into crypto and like NFTs and shit.
Yeah, it feels like they're going through their Konami arc, the one that the Konami went through at the last decade.
Big Sigma move.
I think the difference is that Konami set no precedent or anything. They were just like, fuck video games, and they just backed out. They didn't. There wasn't some like there's the Kojima thing, and that's really about it. Like they were just like, fucking whatever, and they moved on.
The Kojima thing, and apparently abusing workers all around because they wanted to get out of video games.
Oh yeah, there was all that weird fucking management where they were like forcing the DDR team into doing fucking whatever.
Yeah.
They were like forcing them onto like mobile teams or something. Some crazy shit. But yeah, I don't know. Square just like aggressively they just like aggressively put out a bunch of just like really egregious shit, and then they're just like, fuck it, we're cashing in now.
Square Enix announces bankruptcy in 5 months. And they have like a single sentence message attached to the bankruptcy announcement that is just, they took my monkey.
I don't think like fucking like anything Square has done in the last year has made like any sense to me. Not that like any like all of it's like bad or whatever. Not that like it's just they're the worst. But like everyone remembers the last State of Play, right? What the fuck were the new Valkyria profile game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's like what Square is so fucking weird because they'll both put way too much money into something and then they'll just be like, look at this thing no one's gonna buy. It's like, why? What is the what was the logic behind like, yes, Final Fantasy getting remasters kind of only on PC? It's like there's no way they didn't think people on console wouldn't want to play fucking Final Fantasy.
Yeah, that one is particularly bizarre. Like, I don't know if they're just being lazy with the port, like, and just not wanting to port it, or if this is like that kind of we want people to double dip, so we're going to release it on PC first and then release it on consoles later because we know people would prefer it on consoles. You know, that kind of evil bullshit. Like, I wouldn't put it past Square Enix. But yeah, their choices have just been really bizarre because there's like on the one hand that the games they do release are still like really good, but then like on the other hand that you're right, they put too much money into stuff and then make really weird choices and decisions and sort of ruin their own brand IP by releasing very obvious cash grabs or doing collabs. It's like everything that's happened to the Nier series in the last decade. Nier Automata was such a smash hit. They greenlit a remake of the original, which is fine. But then they made a mobile game that's specifically designed to get people's money, and then they decided to promote the series by putting 2B in fucking everything. Like, in PUBG and like every other mobile game. Just fill it with Nier stuff. There's 2 Nier special collabs happening at like the exact same time in 2 separate mobile games right now. And it's really weird for a series like Nier to be the one that does this.
Yeah.
It's very funny that it's 2B also.
Yeah.
2B has the Lady D problem.
Yeah.
Only present for a third of the game.
Usually leaves a present for a slightly longer than that, but...
Sorry, 2/3 of the game, but you only play as her for a third.
Yeah. But then, like, she's not even from the most recent Nier game that was released.
Yeah.
Wait, yeah, and then like you got the Bravely Octopath side, which has been doing all right, decently, although their games seemingly been progressively getting worse and worse. But
yep.
I know a lot of people like Triangle Strategy, but we've got someone reviewing it for Source Gaming who has not really been having the best of times with that game. So we'll see how it turns out. Apparently, like the first 30 hours of this game, it's just been nothing but visual novel, basically.
Oh, well, that comes with the territory. Is it who I think it is?
Probably not. Because I haven't introduced them to any of you guys, but they did review Bravely Default 2 for us as well. Like, I picked them out because they were like a huge Bravely Default fan, and then played Bravely Default 1 and then the second, and so when we got 2, I thought, well, they'll do it, and then Triangle Strategy as well. But like, yeah, like it like just like comparing it to Final Fantasy Tactics, which he was also a big fan of. And it's like that game has like cuts. That game has like, you know, a brief cutscene, and then that game has cutscene, then gameplay, and then cutscene, and then gameplay, and then cutscene, and then gameplay. Whereas Triangle Strategy is like cutscene, a minute of gameplay, cutscene for like the first 30 hours, and then it's okay. Now the strategy elements coming into this.
Yeah, if they
it'd be like if Fates was nothing but story. Up until the point where you got all of the siblings together, and then you could play.
That's like 12 hours.
Yeah, it's the same problem with that Triangle Strategy has. So it feels like your enjoyment of that, because that game obviously got loads of good reviews, and I've been avoiding them all because I wasn't really bothered in the game, but also I figured I'd just like wait and see what like our reviewer thought of it. But yeah, it seems like it depends entirely on how much you're willing to just deal with story and nothing else.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's weird, and I wonder what that team will do, because they've been very closely tied with Nintendo if Sony was to buy out Square. Presumably their games would just go to PlayStation now, but they never feel like the sort of games that PlayStation fans would buy, I guess.
On the note of like going to Sony, do you think that Disney would be okay with that for Kingdom Hearts just being on Sony?
They might be. I mean, they never really had a problem with the main Kingdom Hearts previously being PlayStation exclusives.
Yeah, but they've been branching out recently. releasing
That's true.
everything.
It would be really funny if Square Enix bought Sony and then Disney backed out, and then that like caused a ricochet of stuff when Nomura decides to back out. Because he's clearly using Kingdom Hearts as his avenue to do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
After Versus 13 fell apart. So like if Disney backed out, they wouldn't have Kingdom Hearts anymore, which means Nomura would like lose his one big series. I wonder if he would just go
like disappear from Kingdom Hearts for real.
Yeah, they just it just wouldn't come back. They stay in Quadratum and never Moogles are replaced with something else now, a new original creature. Yeah, it'd just be really funny if like Disney pulled Kingdom Hearts away and Nomura just went with the IP rather than sticking with Square.
Yeah.
But that's also something like they're doing a lot of Kingdom Hearts nonsense now as well. I mean, they've been pushing mobile games for a while, and they're not my favorite, but at the very least, I don't think the last two were gachas. But this new one definitely is. It's like a weird Pokemon Go gacha.
There's also like how this would affect Super Smash Brothers. The Final Fantasy characters are gone.
Oh yeah, like I mean, they're obviously allowed in Ultimate. They have to keep old contracts going. They can't just remove them from that. But yeah, any future Smash games, you wouldn't be getting Cloud or Sephiroth or. Well, I guess it depends if Disney pulls out and if Dragon Quest. Because that does make me wonder, right? If Square Enix, if the Armor Project owns the IP for Dragon Quest, but they don't own the actual games themselves, because Square Enix owns the actual games themselves. They'd have to go to Square Enix if they wanted to, like, port or re-release any of the older games. But could the Dragon Quest heroes stay in Smash?
When Hero comes back in the next Smash Brothers game and it's the Dragon Quest 12 hero only.
Well, no, this is the thing, right? Does Square own the actual character designs?
No.
And stuff, no. Yeah, exactly. So, like, does Square even really needed to get Dragon Quest into Smash?
Square's the third copyright on the listing for Heroes DLC. It goes Armor Project, Bird Studio, I think is the name.
That's Akira Toriyama's,
Toriyama. And then Square Enix, and then the composer.
Yeah, I wonder if that's because, like, they just used assets that Square owned, like, you know, the map that in the Dragon Quest stage, and it flies over the top, and you got the map. I wonder if that map is just straight up the one taken from Dragon Quest 11 to save time.
The music's definitely reused.
Yeah, the music's definitely reused, but they get that through the composer.
They get that through the composer. Like. Okay, yeah. So it would be.
And Akira Toriyama would be where they get all the designs and art. So I can't actually think about what Square Enix would have contributed.
And I think like the names of the games.
So they can just pull a Dante and just have it be like Dragon Quest.
Yeah.
Just Comic Sans. And then it just doesn't reference, like, it has the character alt still there, but all the stages are from Dragon Quest 12 or 13, because like Square is still making Dragon Quest 12, obviously.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so it'd have to be Dragon Quest 13. Man, that would be. I can't see Armor Project pulling away for Dragon Quest, but we'd have to see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ozzy thinks that the characters themselves are owned by Square Enix, but the designs are owned by Toriyama. That's what Ozzy thinks.
That's wild.
It wouldn't surprise me. Square Enix is fucking weird with its IP stuff. It's like I'm pretty sure like for the character of Cloud, Square owns the character, but all like the artwork of the character and stuff is owned by Nomura.
Yeah.
Which is why Cloud didn't have his own like actual artwork and had to use the Smash model before the DLC came.
That's wild too, because like Nomura did artwork for the launch of Smash.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they did that because he's friends with Sakurai. You probably didn't mind. I mean, that's my assumption anyway. Obviously, I'm never going to confirm that. With Bayonetta 2, it's slightly different. I don't think it's that necessarily that Nintendo owns all the characters introduced in Bayonetta 2, but they do. They definitely do. But it's not just that. I'm pretty sure Nintendo just owns Bayonetta 2, and anything that wasn't in Bayonetta 1 is owned by Sega.
They own Bayonetta 2. Presumably 3, and they own the Japanese dub of Bayonetta 1.
Yeah, because the original wasn't Japanese dubbed. Yeah, whereas Sega only owns Bayonetta 1, and the characters introduced in Bayonetta 1. So, like, Bayonetta, Luca, fuck, I forgot his name now. The shopkeeper guy, who everyone likes.
Broden?
Yeah, Broden, yeah. But but like that's it. And then Platinum Games doesn't know anything from Bayonetta, because Platinum are also. I mean, to be fair, they're probably too small to be able to fight for themselves to own stuff. That's probably why like these games wouldn't exist if they didn't make these deals, which is kind of a shame because I feel like if I was ever making a game, like, I would want to own the intellectual property rights of it.
Yeah.
Like, even if someone's publishing it, like, I'm fine with you want to be the publisher of it, but I want to be, like, the IP holder of it so that I can do what I want with my characters.
If I remember correctly, that's the situation with No More Heroes as well. The whole series is fully owned by Marvelous. Well, joint owned. I think Grasshopper has a 10% stake in it, but still.
You know, Marvelous didn't publish Travis Strikes Again, right?
Marvelous.
So that was independently published.
Marvelous didn't publish any of the games outside of Japan.
Yeah. But because I know Nintendo published No More Heroes 3 outside of Japan. Apparently.
They distributed it. I think that was still published by Grasshopper.
Oh yeah, because No More Heroes 3 isn't a Switch exclusive anymore, is it?
It's not. It's being published by Xseed.
Oh yeah, Rising Star. I see. Xseed are the ones who've published all the Switch versions of the No More Heroes games in America. Marvelous has published it. That's why I'm getting confused. Rising Star Games published No More Heroes, the first one, but Marvelous Europe has published No More Heroes since then.
Rising Star published No More Heroes 1 and 2 in Europe, and in America they were published by Ubisoft, which is fucking wild.
Yeah. But Marvelous Europe published the Switch ports in Europe of No More Heroes 1 and 2. And Marvelous Japan published the Japanese one, but then Xseed did the American ones. And then I don't know about Travis Strikes Again.
Travis Strikes Again was, I believe, Grasshopper, but it may be published by Xseed on other platforms. Let me check.
Yeah, so I just checked. So Grasshopper published all versions of it on the Switch in all regions, but then in PS4, it was the same breakup of Marvelous publishing it in Japan and Europe and Xseed publishing it in America.
Marvelous, okay.
Yeah, and
Marvelous
then
published all versions on PC.
Yeah, and then No More Heroes 3 was published by Marvelous in Japan on the Switch, Grasshopper worldwide on the Switch, and then Xseed for the upcoming PlayStation, Xbox, PC version is Xseed for No More Heroes 3.
Is Xseed Marvelous?
No, I don't think so. It's a company founded by. Oh yeah, no, it is. Never mind, it is. It became a subsidiary of Marvelous. It wasn't originally, but then it became one.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So I guess technically that means Marvelous has been publishing.
Yeah.
Publishing it in every region.
All right.
So there you go. The more you know.
All I know about Rising Star Game is that they made my favorite bad video game, which is Deadly Premonition 2. God, that game is such a disappointment. I
still have not played that game.
I like reel about it like every other few months. I'm just like, oh fuck, they did make a second Deadly Premonition, and it was like significantly worse, like in every regard.
It still sits in my upstairs unopened. I've been meaning to go to a friend's house where we played the first Deadly Premonition and Don't Die Twice, whatever that game's called, together, and playing this one together. But like, I also don't dare to because it might not even be funny bad.
It really isn't. I don't like. I honestly don't know. I'm like super disappointed by the fact that like Deadly Premonition is a goofy ass video game, but it's like it's super earnest. Like it clearly was just like an underexperienced team wanted to make something really ambitious, and it's like, yeah, that's nice. And then Deadly Premonition 2 is like, yeah, but what if we made a meme game? And it's like, stop. Completely misses the fucking point of what people liked about the first one.
I know they lean into the people liking it because it's a bad aspect. It's like Birdemic.
But yeah, which is really annoying because, like, you know, like that's not the reason why people like Deadly Premonition.
I will say, I do think the decision to include a skateboard is good.
It is good. That's a good one. That's about it, though. Also, those segments run at like 15 FPS, so it doesn't even fucking matter.
I think the performance issues add to the game. I'm not sure about like the quality of the game itself. Like,
no, it runs way too like they didn't do like an optimization patch like at all. It runs worse than any version of Deadly Premonition 1 I've ever played.
I still think games running at a really low frame rate is really funny for some reason.
It is funny, but I don't know. I feel like all the things were in place for him to make like a just, you know, the game he wanted to make, and then he was like, "No, let's make a funny meme game." Haha, hee.
Oh no. Here's a fun fact I just found out. Xseed are the publishers of Pandora's Tower and The Last Story in America. It's Nintendo everywhere else, because they're Nintendo games, but I guess Reggie really didn't want them over, so they had to go to Xseed to get it published.
Oh yeah, fucking! I got a bone to pick with Reginald.
Yeah, I was thinking we could talk about. Is there anything we want to talk about with the Embracer Group thing anymore, or should we move on to talk about Reggie, because he's been in the news a lot recently?
Dude hated the Game Boy Micro? What the fuck is wrong with him? It's like the best version of the system. Don't at me.
I mean, it's a good version of the system. So this is the thing with all of Reggie's comments. From like a business POV, I get what he's saying, but it's also like really frustrating. Like the Game Boy Micro came out way too late in the Game Boy's life cycle.
Yeah, but it was also
really
like
ever be a success.
It was like $40.
Yeah, I don't remember how much it was when it came out.
I think it was like I remember buying mine brand new for $60. Like at the GameStop, just brand new. I still have it. It's right here on my desk. I have it right here. I can hang on. Let me turn off crisp, so I can do this.
Mine is like at my parents', I'm pretty sure.
Love this thing. It's my favorite Game Boy. It's fucking awesome. But yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that Reggie was like, nah, cancel it. It's like, no. Don't do that. It was cool for people like me who really liked the Game Boy Advance and like didn't want to get a DS like immediately.
Well, like, I mean, because this is the thing, right? And he brought this up with Mother 3, which I feel like is something that needs addressing, because they talked about like it not being a good business decision to go through the effort of localizing and bringing Mother 3 over. And obviously that kind of sucks, but Mother 3 also came out in like 2006 in Japan and would have probably been 2007 for America. Yeah. And like the DS came out in 2004. The Wii was out in 2006. The Game Boy Advance was long past its prime by that point. And I feel like Mother 3 just didn't make sense from a business decision. I mean, it's the same thing that happened with Earthbound Beginnings. They went through the trouble of localizing that and then realized it was so late in the NES's lineup and the SNES was about to come out that there was just no business sense in actually releasing that one, and so just focus to Earthbound instead.
2 in like 1995.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but Reggie also mentioned in that article, like, it was something he also talked to Iwata about during the Wii U era, and they also were just like, yeah, but like whatever.
Did he mention the Wii U era specifically?
Yeah, because they were talking about putting Earthbound on the eShop, and how the Wii U just like Earthbound didn't sell millions of units because not only did no one buy a Wii U, but even less people bought Virtual Console games on the Wii U because it was a fucking waste of time.
Okay, so Earthbound itself did do good.
Yeah.
It was Earthbound Beginnings that I think underperformed, and by the time Earthbound Beginnings was finally out on the market and they got the data back, like, there was no sense in doing Mother 3, is what I think he was trying to say there.
I guess that makes sense. There's a big problem, because the Earthbound Beginnings is great for, like, if you're, like, a big Earthbound fan and you just want to experience a bit of history. But, like, it is, like, an objectively worse game than regular Earthbound. And it was only being released because why not? They've already done all the work. Whereas Mother 3, they would have to do all of the work to localize it and bring it over. And if they haven't done that, like, that's a lot of money and stuff like that. If they don't think it's going to be a success, then I guess I do sort of get it. On the flip side, I still think they should release it.
Yeah, just like rip the Band-Aid off, just get it over with. Like,
because like Mother 3 is a better game than Earthbound.
I don't agree with that, but
I do. I think, like, gameplay wise, Mother 3 is like a bit better. Earthbound is still fairly archaic, not to the same level that Earthbound Beginnings is at all. But
my hot video game hot take is Earthbound's perfect. Is like literally no flaws. Sorry, you can't handle a game with 6 buttons, but it's great, fucking perfect video game. One of the few. It's up there with Doom and Tetris Effect Connected. Like, it's just and Resident Evil 8.
We can agree to disagree.
I think Mother 3 is really good. I would say Mother 3 is as good as Earthbound, but Earthbound, in my opinion, is just better.
Fair enough.
Sorry, Zoomers. It just... You play Earthbound? It's fucking great. So good.
Earthbound is great. I guess
it's a fucking masterpiece video gaming. I think I'm with transparency. I think I don't care about, like, if video games are, like, good or bad anymore. It's just like if they're perfect or not. Like, it's just like, oh man.
Speaking of perfect video games, where did the rights for The Quiet Man go?
I don't know, because Human Head's dead. They weren't part of IDOS.
I guess
they were supposed to make a Prey sequel that didn't look good, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume they're owned by Square.
I guess that's my second hot take for the day. Prey 2 didn't look good. I much prefer the Prey we got instead of Prey 2.
Yeah, but like Reggie's other comments, I suppose, like,
oh yeah, Donkey Konga.
Yeah,
it's gonna ruin the franchise.
Yeah, again, I think that's slightly overreacting a bit there. Like, I've seen some people defend it by being like, oh, like, when Donkey Konga came out, you know, like, imagine you've been waiting for a Donkey Kong platformer on consoles, and then Donkey Konga comes out, and it's just like, yeah, I get it, but also Jungle Beat only came out like a year later. Like,
well, I'm sure the other thing. I'm sure the other thing is just that what was it, like, when they brought on Reggie, their whole thing was like, we're gonna fucking, like, we're gonna get serious. We're gonna become the serious, cool Nintendo. You know, all that, and then they're like, oh yeah, here's Donkey Konga.
I mean, that was a weird.
Like, that was like Reggie's whole thing when he introduced himself on stage. He's like, I'm here to kick ass and play video games, or fucking whatever he says.
Yeah.
Now here's Donkey Kong. It's just like
Donkey Kong Jungle Beat came out 5 months after Donkey Konga.
Yeah. It's just like, to me, like, yeah, fine if you didn't like Donkey Konga or whatever. Sure. But also, it's clearly like you saw that this was it was very obviously a spin-off, and there was very obviously a new Donkey Kong game coming out. So I don't think it was that big of an issue.
I think the most interesting thing about all these interviews with Reggie has been we've finally really gotten a look at how, like, main Nintendo and like other branches of Nintendo kind of interact with each other.
Yeah.
Like I mean, like, it's not like there hasn't been history detailing how those, like, relationships work, but I do think it's, like, interesting that we're getting, like, some behind the scenes ideas of, like, like, how did Nintendo of America react to, Nintendo just going like, here's the fucking Game Boy Micro.
Did you see what he said about Metroid Other M?
I didn't actually read. I didn't read what his feedback was, but I know he had, like, higher hopes for it.
Yeah, so he thought it was going to be like a watershed moment for the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And when it wasn't, he talked about the meeting with Nintendo's, like, higher ups, like Iwata and Miyamoto were there.
Yeah.
And he said, I think it's because people, like, they were waiting 5 hours to get to the game. It, like, didn't appeal to gamers because it took too long to actually, like, get going. And I don't think he's right there. That's not the whole thing. But he then goes on to say, I think I made those people very angry there.
I mean, with Miyamoto's with the recent comments from his book about how Miyamoto was really pissed off about Wii Sports being a pack-in title, which is fairly eye-opening to me, because it just kind of suggests, like, the reason Nintendo Land and the reason 1-2-Switch want pack-in titles as well is, purely like Nintendo of Japan just outright refusing, and Wii Sports was just a really weird thing that happened.
Nintendo Land was a pack-in title.
Well, I mean, it was a pack-in title if you got the only good version of the Wii U.
Yeah. It was a pack-in title if you got the bigger, more expensive version of the Wii U.
Yeah, which eventually just became the main model, because the basic Wii U was a fucking waste of money.
Yeah. Like, no one got the white Wii U, but technically Nintendo Land is a pack-in title as much as buying a Mario Kart 8 with Wii U bundle is a pack-in title.
I don't think Nintendo Land ever stopped being a pack-in title.
No, it didn't. The second they made, like, the deluxe edition, like the permanent version of the console, even when they were doing game bundles, they included a code for Nintendo Land.
That's pretty cool. I didn't actually know that one. Yeah, but that's
that dude, during Black Friday, like 2014, 2015, when Nintendo got, like, especially desperate, you would get, like, the Mario Kart 8 Wii U, which was already a really good deal because it was like $350. You got the deluxe system, like 2 games and all that, and then I think they also included, like, Smash and Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, and it was like $360 total.
That's good.
They were just giving that thing away. It's at, like, one point.
I think that's, like, desperate Wii U time.
Yeah,
I am almost wondering if, like, the only reason they released the basic and then a deluxe one is so that they could get around giving Nintendo Land as a pack-in title to not piss off.
Well, it was actually because the Wii U tablet cost way too fucking much, so, like, they needed a cheaper SKU.
I think they got early feedback that the price was too much from like developers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they made a basic version of it that was cheaper, but was like
you got the Wind Waker
significantly worse, so no one would buy that version.
Okay. I guess some versions of it didn't come with Nintendo Land then.
Yeah, no, the basic one didn't. And then obviously, like, because the 3DS did come with a pack-in title, but it was like the AR games and Face Reader.
Yeah.
Which I don't really know.
Well, I think the Wind Waker Wii U was before they did the price drop, so that might be why.
Yeah.
But there was another Wii U that didn't have Nintendo Land, and that was the Skylanders Wii U, which was just the basic thing with some Skylanders shit thrown in, and it was like $280.
That's
okay.
awful.
That's all. Yeah, that's also the worst version of the Wii U to buy.
God.
The fucking Skylanders.
You at
Wii
least
U.
get like Donkey Kong and Bowser with that?
No.
Oh my god.
You just get like the game and like the plate and like maybe I don't know, like Spyro or something. Like
yeah, no, it's not. Yeah, it's not Spyro. I've just found it. It's like some weird octopus pirate guy, but like it's Washbuckler. His name is an exclusive Washbuckler figure.
Sorry
Great.
if I was a bit too quiet. I was sitting back from the microphone.
The quiet man.
Contemplating what you just heard. Yeah. Nintendo were weird in the Wii U thing. But yeah, I feel like Reggie's comments are a mix of like, this is really interesting and also this is complete bullshit, what he's saying. Like, his comments about, oh, you know, this wasn't my Nintendo when talking about the contract stuff is an actual lie. It's just straight up a lie.
Yeah.
Like, maybe he wasn't aware of it, but that would have been because he was so high up the chain he probably wasn't even paying attention to contractors. Like...
That sounds about right.
Yeah, it happened under him, so... It's just... God, it's bad. And all of his stuff about the blockchain is just him repeating the same shit everyone else has been saying about the blockchain, with nothing new to it. So I'm not even convinced he knows what he's talking about there.
He does not know what the blockchain is.
Yeah. He's just got to say it so he looks like a good businessman. It feels like, anyway. I'm not saying this is the truth. That's what it feels. Anyway. We got anything else we want to talk about? Any other news stories from this week?
What did happen this week? What else happened this week?
I mean...
Jesus Christ.
I won't talk about it too much because it just came out, but Doctor Strange was great.
Ooh.
I have heard mixed comments about that, actually.
Yes, so here is the thing about Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness. It is not a Marvel movie. It is a Sam Raimi movie.
Hell yeah. That's what you love to hear, baby.
Through and through, it is a Sam Raimi movie. There are scenes in that are just like, this is just the Evil Dead, but with superheroes instead.
That's what I love to hear.
There's a transition that happens in like the first third that actually got a massive laugh from the audience because of how fucking ridiculous it was of a transition. It's like, yeah, it's got his print all over it. It's like a weird mix of the Evil Dead and the Spider-Man movies he made, with like all the good CGI from the original Doctor Strange. And it just goes like completely balls to the wall halfway through it, and it's easily one of like the top 5 Marvel movies in my opinion.
Not according to dipshits online, though.
Yeah, because the problem is it's not a Marvel movie. There isn't really many quips or anything.
I gotta say, this is all right. Here it comes. Here's my big rant for the day. That isn't about the Game Boy Micro. Fucking like what do people just like not understand camp? Because the biggest
incredibly camp. Camp is the perfect word to describe.
The biggest fucking thing I always hear when people talk about like Marvel movies in relation to other movies. They're like, "Oh, they're just fun. They're just meant to be fun. Why? Don't take them seriously. They're meant to be fun." And then you have like these other like superhero movies like Doctor Strange, or I would even say the fucking Venom movies that are just like legitimately like tongue-in-cheek, like self-aware, funny movies. And everyone's just like, I don't get it. It's dumb.
So the negative reaction that I've heard from somebody I actually know is from friend of the channel, Huff Gaming. So I don't know if you're quite right there.
I mean, what were his issues with it? Because I do have friends who didn't like it, or at least thought the first Doctor Strange was better. But I mean, not my friends who I went to with. I'm just
going off these wonderful takes Spazzy keeps posting in our Discord. Like,
he thought it was boring, if I remember correctly.
See, I don't get how you could find it boring. It's so over the top, campy, cheesy, with like lots of action scenes and just some really, really good horror shots. Like there's a surprising amount of just actual weird horror moments. Like I'm not gonna say like who does it or when it happens, but there's like a scene that's almost like from like something like The Grudge, where the person twists their body around in like, you know, ways that definitely broke all of their bones and like runs at someone like that. You know, that sort of. I don't know if that's actually in The Grudge, but it's the first thing I thought of. It's like that kind of weird, visceral, like horror that just isn't in any other Marvel movie. And there's a really cool transition scene when they're moving through multiverses where it just the like actual just effects of everything change, and like it looks like Splatoon at one point, and it's like it's just really cool looking CGI. Yeah, I don't really understand how anyone can say it was a boring movie to watch, because I've had more fun with this movie than I have had with any movie in Phase 4 line. Like, I like Spider-Man, but I like Spider-Man because of all the references. I like Spider-Man because I like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man Spider-Man movie. But this is better than that. This is much better than Spider-Man was. Like, I don't know if it's as good as Winter Soldier or the first Avengers movie or Infinity War. But I would recommend this movie. I'd be very surprised if Black Panther 2 managed to top it, in my opinion. Yeah, there's my little spoiler-free recommendation to go watch Multiverse of Madness, especially if you're a Sam Raimi fan. If you don't like Sam Raimi's style of directing, then maybe you won't enjoy this movie. But I don't know, I laughed so much throughout this whole film. So yeah. There we go. There's something to end on.
Alright. Well, thanks for everyone coming to the show. Hopefully we're back next week, and if not that, then in 2 weeks. As I said last time, we're going to try to make this a more regular thing, so there isn't like multiple months hiatus again.
Yeah.
Thank you to all of our patrons on screen right now. If you want to support us, Patreon is in the description, and we also have a donation link. You can super chat also. We really appreciate every single cent that comes our way. It helps us to support the channel better. And I hope you all have a good rest of your day. Have a good one, and goodbye.